This passing drill looks clean, but it's teaching almost nothing about real soccer. Today, I'll walk you through how to turn this lifeless ladder drill into something that actually prepares players for match scenarios, step by step. When I was starting my coaching career, I went to a practice led by another coach with decades of experience. His team was doing this ladder passing drill, which he called a staple drill. Essentially, it's a drill where seven players do one touch passes from one side of the ladder to the other by skipping one step on the way up and going one step back um, after each forward pass. The coaches often set two teams next to each other as a competition. Also, the parents liked it because it looked well coordinated. However, the kids seemed bored out of their minds. After the pass, the first player had nothing to do. So, one touch of the ball with no decision making and no other actions for the next minute. To start, let's fix the issue with low engagement. Kids these days have very limited time to play soccer. Many kids play only during the 2-3 hours of practice. So we must design the practice to maximize for the number of player actions. That means that the player to ball ratio should be small. In this case, instead of a 7 player ladder, we will do a 3 player ladder. That way the players will have way more player actions and touches per minute. You can still make it a competition by counting the passes and challenge the first group that will get to 30 or 50 passes. So I went back to the drawing board. Let me see when this movement is relevant. This long short pass combination is very common when a defender passes a long pass to the striker, only for the striker to set it back with one touch to the midfielder. Usually the midfielder runs forward at that point, so that's another movement we need to include. Also, this can be useful if you're trying to switch sides, so two midfielders can be having this combination. Either way, it is a very common pattern that we need to coach. So that's how we have fixed engagement. But we are still on autopilot. There's no scanning, there's no decision. This means that the execution must be solid, and as a coach, you demand excellence. If we stop here, we will not see this movement in a game, at least not nearly as often as the game will demand from us. The players will not naturally put in a game context. And why should they? Soccer is a game with made up rules outside of the real world. Just like any other sport, there are aspects that our brains are not naturally preconditioned for. We need to expand the drill to add defenders. We need reasons to scan and make decisions. Please understand that you can't expect the same execution as it is without defenders. It will look messy, especially at the beginning. But let's try. Create 3 zones, 2 end zones, and 1 central zone. We will set 2v1 in the end zones and 2v2 in the midfield. We will give a point every time the ball gets from one end zone to the other. Sometimes that will be a long pass. Otherwise, it will be a short pass with the midfielder. The midfielder can either pass back or progress forward. Because of the numerical advantage of the end zones, we will limit the players in the end zones to one touch. This will make them scan the field and think hard before they receive the ball. Also, it will make them demand from the other players to be open to receive the ball right away. Now we are simulating the real thing. Players are under pressure, scanning constantly, and deciding when to go short and when to go long. But we added some constraints and we created overloads. But that's not the biggest problem. As I discussed in one of the recent videos, the objective in soccer is to score goals and not concede goals. Keeping possession for possession's sake is useless. So let's see if we can put the drill into a game context and also give objective for the team to score goals. So let's set somewhat of a small-sided game. This is where everything comes together. We will have two teams playing in a 2-2-1 formation, where the defense will not be allowed to leave their own third. We will also start by playing from the defense. So the defenders might combine with the midfielders or might look for the striker, who then will set the ball for the midfielders. There will be a lot of creativity and improvisation in the final third. However, the fact that we will always start from the back will create those moments we want to experience. As coaches, we will restrict ourselves from coaching those points. Don't start by talking about crossing or overlaps. Focus on those points and allow your players to express themselves in other areas without stopping the game. You should also keep the field relatively narrow. For a U10 team, this is not far from what they usually play with. However, for a U14 team, this is just a subset of the vertical third of the field. Players will not just be executing combinations, they will be anticipating the next moment. Note that this is the progression. We started with a mindless passing drill and finished with a game realistic session that teaches movement, scanning, decision making, and awareness. The goal is always the same: build drills that transfer to real matches. You can still start with the unopposed 3v0 setup, then move to structured drill, then move to 5v5 small sided game. This is a methodology of scaffolding. You build a knowledge of the players one step at a time by removing some problems and allowing them to focus on solving only the next issue inside. Hopefully, over time, you get to see them using different tools in the game based on all the solutions that they have learned from you over time. If you found this breakdown useful, check out my video on breaking lines. And if you're a coach, drop your favorite drill progression in the comments. And thank you for watching.